Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this afternoon's forum for the Adams County Commissioners District 1, 5, and 7 candidates, hosted by the League of Women Voters of Hastings. This part I don't have to read. I am Cheryl Curran, and I am a member of the League of Women Voters Hastings. I'm a moderator for this afternoon. Co-sponsors today are the YWCA of Adams County, the Hastings Area Chamber of Commerce, the Hastings Public Access Channel, and the Hastings Noon Sertoma Club. The Hastings Public Access Channel is recording the forum, so please encourage your friends who couldn't come to watch on the HPAC television channel or to watch on the HPAC YouTube channel. The League of Women Voters of Hastings is a nonpartisan, grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not endorse individual political candidates or political parties. Membership in the League is open to people 16 years and older of all gender identities. Our candidates for this afternoon's forum are the following. We have Craig Hubbard from District 1, Stephen Wayne Huntley from District 5, not from, but candidate of District 5, and candidates for District 7, Joe Patterson and Adam Story. Michael Stromer, the incumbent, I will talk better, for District 1, and Tim Reams, the incumbent for District 5, are unable to attend this afternoon because of prior commitments. They send their regrets. Also with us, we have the sole candidate for District 3, and that would be Lee Hogan. Lee, you want to stand up and give a quick wave?
I don't know, they might have something pointed at me.
No, we checked. We do have a media panelist today, and that's Andy Rome from the Hastings Tribune. The procedure... Oh, geez. It's Andy Jones over there, and it's... I'm sorry. I'm telling you, I'm getting there today. Each candidate is allowed 1 minute for an opening statement. After that, the media will ask questions, and then we will use the audience's written questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. If a candidate feels that incorrect or misleading information has been stated about them, they may ask for a 30-second rebuttal. There will be no rebuttals of rebuttals. Questions for the candidates will be asked in rotating order. League of Women Voters from Hastings, members Judy Sandine and Carla Hedstrom will be timing this afternoon. Green will signal you to begin. Yellow means you have 30 seconds left, or 15 if it's only a 30-second question. And red means stop. You may finish your sentence. Audience, if you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and LWV members Mary Junker and Ann Hinton will, will bring you a pen, pencil and a paper. Write down your question and raise your hand again, and your questions will get picked up. Audience, please keep your questions pertinent to the issues, and we ask that there be no personal attacks. Questions should be for all candidates. Audience questions will be monitored by the two ladies to my right here. They are League of Women Voters members Ginny Skutnik and Velva Junker. The forum will conclude with a 1 minute closing statement from each candidate. Please no applause until the end. At this time, we will begin with the 1 minute opening statement from each candidate, and we will start with Craig Hubbard, the District 1 candidate.
Good afternoon, and thank you to the League of Women Voters, and thank you to the public that came out today to listen to us talk about our vision for the future. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Craig Hubbard. I came here to Hastings 35 years ago. My wife and I are transplants to the community. We chose to make our home in Hastings and Adams County. We chose to start our businesses here, and we chose to raise our 6 children in this community. 25 years ago, I started my business. Shortly after that, my wife started hers. We've been employees, we've been employers, and now I'm teaching the future generation of builders out at Central Community College. I'm very passionate about the community. Sometimes my passion gets confused as anger, but I tend to speak my mind, and you always know where you stand with me, and I'm never going to be dishonest in an answer. I also respect everyone else's opinions, and I think sometimes that's where we fail.
And now, candidate. Sorry. I'm going to get this right. Candidate Stephen Wayne Huntley from District 5. And when he is finished, I will read a statement from Tim Reams, the other District 5 candidate.
There's the green card. Can you? Sorry.
And it will help if you, when you pass the microphone, don't turn it off.
Sorry.
Little
That's okay.
equipment malfunction there.
I'll start you again.
Okay. Well, thank you. Now, since we have the microphone working, I'm Steve Huntley, or Stephen Wayne Huntley, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters and everyone that came out to enjoy this forum on this great Arbor Day. Beautiful weather to celebrate Earth Day now, as they call it. I serve on the City Council. I've served there now for 2 terms, and it's now time for me to take the next step. My vision for the county will come out during this forum, but it's pretty simple. Make our county better, make our communities better. Working with the City Council, working with the city, the county, I think we can do a lot of great things. And I'm the one who can help manage the 2 groups and get them to work together and continue on a great path. So once again, I want to encourage everyone to vote for me, and thank you all for coming. That's how you do it, Craig, so you don't get anything thrown at you.
Okay, thank you. Now I'll read a statement from Tim Reams, the other District 5 candidate. And this is a timed thing as well.
Oh, okay.
My name is Tim Reams, and I'm running for re-election for the County Commissioners Board. I was born and raised here in Adams County, and I have several. I am semi-retired from my company, T&L Heating and Air Conditioning. My certifications include electronics, project management. I have master licenses in mechanics, gas fitter, plumbing, and journeyman steam fitter. If re-elected, my first priority is to keep working with the state on property evaluations, which are far too high. As the state sets them, we need to work with them to get them lowered. Secondly, my priority is public safety. I have been assisting closely with the Adams County Jail to keep, and would like to keep with other counties, to keep working with other counties to work on contracts for their prisoners. Please know we have a fully trained staff and no corners have been cut to ensure the safety of all Adams and of surrounding county citizens. If you have any questions you would like to discuss further, please contact me and my information on the Adams County website. Thank you. And now we will move on to the District 7 candidates. Joe Patterson.
Thank you, and thanks again for coming out. I appreciate the invitation to the League's forum today, and I'll start off by thanking some of my board members that are here, one staff member, one past board member, for their support. It's been appreciated. We moved here in 1980. I had 2 young children. One of them is no longer young. She's sitting right over here. My wife Sherry and I were looking for a better community. We lived in Topeka. I was a KU grad and went to grad school at KU. We moved here thinking we'd be here 4 or 5 years. We really have made deep roots in Hastings. I was asked to apply for the job by Chuck Newman years ago, went through the interview process, was selected, and then I ran for re-election a little over 3 years ago and ran unopposed. I agree about the jail. I think Tim and I agree on that. I also believe we can do a better job of saving money with working with the city. Thank you.
Candidate Story.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the League of Women Voter and also the YWCA for hosting this and everybody that has came out. I'm Adam Story. I've been an Adams County resident for 30 years. My wife and I have raised our 2 sons here. I've served in law enforcement for 30 years and 20 of those in management. I want to give back to Adams County. Adams County has given me so much, and I want to give back with this position. Formal degrees, I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Nebraska at Kearney and a master's degree from Doane University. I have experienced a lot through my career with large projects and budgets, and I want to use those skills to give back to the Adams County position. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we're getting another chair. Thank you. We will now have a question from the media. So I'm just going to come over here and share my microphone.
All right, thanks for coming out here today. Just wanted to, I know there's been a lot of discussion about merging the communication centers in town here, and so I just wanted to ask, what do you see as the benefits and challenges of merging the Hastings Police Department 911 Center with the Adams County Sheriff's Office Communication Center?
And we will begin with Steve Huntley. Thank you. And if you need the question repeated at any time, please let us know.
Thank you, Will, for the question. I was actually involved with a ad hoc committee that had looked into it, and there was a potential huge savings to both the city and the county, with the possibility of other counties joining in to make the center, if it was taken away from both PD and the Sheriff's Department, a standalone self-supporting entity. Those were all preliminary numbers, and things just kind of went a little south there, and it was killed. And hopefully that's something we can revive and get going. The biggest thing is right now, we have to make sure the county and the city are both covered from a 911 standpoint, and there's no dead spots or delays in getting service when the people need it. So, thanks again, Will.
Yes, pass to your left. Yes.
Well, I brought this up at the last forum. It was at the airport. I'm very familiar with the City 911 Center. Not so familiar with what the county's doing. And I think during the discussions, and I was not part of that group, discussed it, but I think those broke down because people got into protecting turf. And if you're going to make significant changes, you have to set that aside, and you have to look at what's best for the people of Adams County, not what's best for your particular department or your interest. And I think that's the issue that has to be addressed moving forward. It may or may not work. There's only very few, if any, other counties that do it this way. So, we probably need to take a good look at what other counties are doing, structure accordingly, and see if we can have better service and save taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
I want to see mutual relationships between the city and the county. There is a little bit of a misrepresentation here. There is one 911 center. It is licensed through the state of Nebraska, and they do not hand out those licenses to groups or other entities. It is the facility that has all the technology to answer the calls within the county, not just the city limits. And that entity does dispatch both the city and the county for medical and all emergencies. And there is a great opportunity here for both entities to see what is in the best interest of the public and public safety. Thank you.
I take a lot of pride in trying to at least have some sort of an informed decision. I might not always have the right information, but I try to at least do somewhat of an informed decision on something, or informed explanation. The way I look at it is if we can save some money by combining resources, that's a win-win situation for the citizen. Unfortunately, I think Adams County is in the beginning stages of an affordability crisis unlike anything we've ever seen. And it's affecting families, it's affecting the young people, and it's affecting people that are on fixed incomes between taxes, property taxes, the rising cost of living. So if we can look at opportunities to collaborate with other entities within the county to save money for the citizen, that's a win-win situation.
And thank you. The first responder next time will be candidate Patterson. These are now questions from audience members. Again, if you have a question that you'd like to have asked, raise your hand. You'll get a pencil and paper, and we'll get that collected. From the audience, if elected, do you intend to remain working in your current occupation? Why or why not?
Well, I am retired from the city after almost 40 years. And in 1998, I was appointed as the Nebraska State Softball Commissioner for USA Softball, and I served in that capacity. I've never missed a city meeting, I never missed a county meeting, serving in that capacity because I set my own schedule. I'm so fortunate to have a really good office staff. I have a full-time office manager, a half-time finance person who's a CPA. So it's very easy for me, it has been very easy for me, and would continue to be. My big concern is when I step down, who am I going to get in Hastings to do that? And so that's my concern. I'll probably serve 2 or 3 more years as state commissioner before I would hang that up and just, if I'm elected, re-elected, I would just stay on as a county commissioner.
Thank you. Yes, I've considered this, and I've spoke to commissioners from other jurisdictions and some that have served here in the past. I understand the time allocation to this. I plan on continuing to serve as the chief of police. It is a unique position that I oversee an entity that is 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, so I just don't work day hours. I work some evenings, some nights, weekends, scheduling things for different events, and so it is my plan to maintain that position and serve both. Thank you.
Yes, I intend to continue working. So I've recently, over the last year, have been entered the education sector. I have very generous vacation time, very generous time off in the summer. I also, as an educator, get to kind of develop my own schedule when I plan classes and plan accordingly. So I have absolutely no intentions of not continuing my job at Central Community College.
Just leave it on. Yes.
Trying to sabotage me again, Craig? Yep.
Oh.
I've known Craig a long time. I'm self-employed. I'm the boss. I write my own paycheck. So do I have the time? Yes. Will I keep working? Yes. I'm not retired. I'm just tired. But I have the time and the energy to do what it takes to represent District 5.
Thank you. Candidate Story will answer first. And this is a fairly long question, so if you need it repeated, just let me know. What would you say to your constituents to assure them that in representing them on matters that cross over into personal or private matters, as well as other political subdivisions, that your representation on the county, on the board, will have the county and your constituents' interests as most important?
That is a long question, but that's the most important part of the position, is to listen to the constituents, look at what the obligations are of the job, and to provide that. Not taking things personal is completely inappropriate. You just look at the best facts and you apply those, listen to the people, and look at the outcomes with that. So that is extremely important, not only to listen to the people, but look at how the operations are ran. Thank you.
Thank you. Pass it all the way down.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that question.
No problem. What will you say to your constituents to assure them that in representing them on matters that cross over into personal or private matters, as well as other political subdivisions, that your representation on the board will have the county and your constituents' interests as most important?
Okay, that's kind of a double-edged question there, because if it's a personal or private matter that would affect me, if I would have a personal interest in something, then obviously I better abstain from the voting on it, because I wouldn't want my personal interest in something to affect or be accused of affecting my decision. But if it's my moral convictions, or what I believe in as far as doing what's right for the citizen, doing what's right for the county, then that's why you would vote for me. I have very strong moral convictions, and I believe in representing the citizen of Adams County, not representing any special interest group. I found it funny, I was accused of being a part of a special interest group, and I've received one donation during that campaign, and that gentleman might be sitting here in this room, so I haven't solicited any, and so when I get accused of being part of a special interest group, I find that quite humorous. But the special interest group that I'm involved with is the citizens, and that's what I want to support. And I listen to everyone that talks to me, and anybody that knows me knows I may disagree with you, but we can agree to disagree and still be friends.
We're running, okay. As a councilman, I'm faced with that decision all the time and that question. We get lobbied from lots of special interest groups, the Chamber, HEDC, citizens groups, all of it. You have to listen to them, but what it boils down to is what is best for your district, the county in this case, your ward. One thing that we have started doing several years ago was having town hall meetings. We had a town hall meeting that Councilman Anderson and I did last night, so we could hear what the community wanted. And it was open to everyone. And we had a very good turnout, and that gives us feedback. When I'm elected to the county board, I've already talked with Councilman Anderson, and he will allow me to go to those meetings and be a part of it, so I continue to get information directly from the constituents, the residents of the county.
For many years, I worked for the city of Hastings in the two capacities as department director and as the city administrator, and my whole focus was on the city and what was good for the citizens. And I think if you look around the community, you'll see a lot of improvements that were made in both those positions. You see them almost every day. There's a passage in the Bible that says, a man cannot serve two masters. That's a big issue for me, because my opponent is a full-time employee with 61 employees. I believe the city of Hastings deserves a full-time police chief, because there are conflicts in negotiations. Ambulance was one, that when we negotiated, and this whole communication center thing is another one. So I think it's going to be extremely hard for my opponent to remain loyal to both local governmental organizations.
Would you like to rebuttal? 30-second rebuttal?
Thank you. That's interesting because the opponent that just said that served both as a city administrator and as a softball coordinator since 1998 in two paid roles for the city of Hastings, an association that had contracts and agreements together.
Can I not rebut that?
And there's no rebuttals of rebuttals. Candidate Hubbard, you will be the first responder in the next question. And the next question is this. It has been noted how much time is required to attend regular meetings and committee-assigned meetings as an Adams County Commissioner. In your estimation, what amount of time do you feel it would take you to do an adequate level of representing your constituents, as well as filling the committee roles that are assigned by the board?
Well, we'd have to see how much time that took. Anybody that knows me knows that if I take something on, I take it on with a full commitment. I probably devote way more time to planning and zoning issues on the Hastings Planning and Zoning Commission than most other members put together, because I do research on every topic that's presented. I research things thoroughly. I contact people. I have contacts within the state legislature that I call on issues. I set in on some urban affairs committee meetings. I try to watch them on TV when I can, or on closed circuit. So when it comes to the county, I'm prepared to put in whatever time it takes to represent the citizens of District 1 and represent them well. And I can tell you that at night, I don't sleep much, so I do a lot of research on topics and issues, and I spend a lot of time preparing in the evenings. I was tasked with writing curriculum for 6 courses last fall. They wanted me to have them done by spring. I turned in the competencies for all 6 courses in September. So within 5 weeks, I completed the task.
How much time will I donate to the county or give to the county to represent my district in the county? As much time as it takes. That's what I do now as a councilman. That's what I'll do as a commissioner. As much time as it takes and needs to be done. Real short answer.
County government is different than city government in that it is administered, a lot of it is administered by the board through committees, where city government it funnels down like an hourglass through the mayor administrator back out. So I serve on 9 different committees that meet every month, and many times we meet in Alma or a distance from Hastings, and I take the time to do that. It is time consuming, it is challenging to represent the county in all those different with those different organizations that the county helps fund. And that's really how the county provides social services. It's through the different organizations that they fund in part to provide those services. And I take as much time as it needs, as it's required.
Thank you. You know, I've done a lot of homework with reading the past few years of the minute meetings and see what every commissioner is on for the different boards, what they serve, and what they give back to the county. Within my life, you know, I've served on a lot of boards. I have my career, and my kids are out of the house, and I've been involved in a lot of things that are time consuming in my life with coaching and different boards that I've served on. And this is something that I want to take a commitment to and serve, and I will allocate the time that's needed to serve this position.
Okay, candidate Huntley will answer first on this next question. Would you be in favor of public access channel filming your commissioners' meetings, or do you have other ideas to keep the public informed?
I would actually like to see the public access channel be at the county board meetings. I think it's a very good tool. The council has it now. There's no reason the county board can't. Some of the commission stuff, technology's getting me here, I apologize for that. Some of the committee meetings, I would say probably not. But for the most part, yeah, it'd be great if the access channel, HPAC would have the staff and the ability to be at the meetings.
Way to go, Steve. Who's next?
You are.
Oh, all right. I'm totally in favor of that. Most of my career, every meeting I attended with city council was televised, and as long as the commissioners don't start playing to the camera, which they certainly don't do because it's not televised, I think it'd be a great idea. And I don't know how my fellow commissioners out there feel about it, but I think it would be informative for people in Adams County to see their county government in action.
I agree, it's a benefit for everybody. It's a benefit for all the residents and the board both to get the information out. That way, if people can't attend the meeting, they can watch it at a later time. It'll allow them to engage more and be more informed with what's going on in Adams County and with the commissioners.
I'm a huge proponent for accessibility and transparency, so anything we can do to make the meetings more accessible to the public, the better off we're going to be. The time, you know, mornings are pretty tough for people to come in person, so that gives people an opportunity to watch the meeting later. Or we could think about maybe moving at least one of the meetings to a time that the public could come and attend. And, you know, it'd be a lot easier for people to come at, 5:30 or 6 than 10 o'clock in the morning. But, I think that about a lot of things. The accessibility, having the media there would be wonderful, because then people would have the opportunity to look at those meetings. We have a social media group that thinks they run the narrative in this community, but not one of them people sits at any of these forums. So how do we get the public more involved to come to the meetings, to come to your forum, to go to the council meetings, to go to the county board meetings, to go to public events? That's what we need to do, because I think we have a lot of the public that forms decisions on maybe some uninformed information.
Thank you. Candidate Patterson, you'll be answering first. What might you propose to do when the corn is 8 to 9 feet tall and you can't see at the intersections?
Is that really a question?
I cannot make this up.
Well, I'm not a farmer. I'd say better stop at the intersection and look both ways before you decide to cross the road. That's about as good as I can make it.
I guess if there's a specific complaint or a specific area, is to pass that on to those that can address it, to see if there's anything to make it safer, any kind of warning or any kind of work that they could do with the farmer. So it'd be passing on the information to those that can actually take action.
Well, as someone that spent a lot of time growing up in the hills north of Overton on a farm, where not only did you have the corn 9 feet tall to contend with, you had the hills also to contend with. You kind of got to treat almost every intersection as if there's a stop sign there. And unfortunately, sometimes a lot of people forget that. But when the corn gets tall and the intersections are busy, you especially have to treat them like there's a stop sign at every one of them. That would be my advice.
Well, when I was learning how to drive, my dad always told me if you can't see around the corn, you slow down and stop. I would also think that, man, that farmer had a lot of money out there in that field, and I hope the prices of corn were good for him. But the biggest thing is slow down, stop, look. If there's something other than corn blocking it, report it to law enforcement, report it to the county board member, and then go from there.
Candidate Story, you'll be answering first here. What role do commissioners play in improving access to workforce services?
Within Adams County, I guess there's a lot of positions that are state mandated, and with the workforce, they need to support growth, and they need to also accommodate within their own structures employees that are part of the process of hiring. So the commissioners, I guess, oversee both aspects of personnel stuff and also supporting that growth within the county. Thanks.
Reach
Pass it on down, please.
Oh, good.
We have a pattern going here.
Thanks, Joe. Would you repeat the question?
Sure. What role do commissioners play in improving access to workforce services?
Not completely sure I understand the question. If this is talking about the county workforce or the workforce within the county. So there's two different things there. So the people that work for the county, obviously, as commissioners, we've got to try to support whatever we can to give them the services, give them the tools they need to do their job to the most efficient way they can complete it. Whether that be supporting our Department of Roads, supporting our Sheriff's Department, supporting the staff within the courthouse, and all the other county positions. As commissioners, we need to look at everything we can do to give them the resources that they need. If we're talking about the workforce of Adams County, then we need to make sure that everything we do as a county commissioner is to make the stuff the resources that are available more accessible within the county to all the workforce. And I'm not going to try to tell you that I know all the workforce programs within Adams County. I can tell you that some of the workforce development stuff I think is great. I guess I'm done.
That was the quickest ending he's had all night. As a commissioner, we also deal with a lot of elected officials that run their own department. So we have to work with them to make sure their employees and themselves have what they need. As Craig said, there's two parts of this. Maybe the other part is the workforce that's out within the county. We need to work for economic development, make sure we have jobs, make sure there's a tax base that's stable, valuations aren't jumping all over the place. So that's a complicated question, and I'm not, really sure where it's going, but it could go both ways, so that's kind of why I'm answering that way.
Well, I'll speak to the county element. I am chairman of the county's personnel committee, and if we're talking about, and I'm a little gray on exactly what the point of the question is, but we currently have various department heads that obviously hire their own people, and then of course the county board then appoints those departments that are not elected. I'm currently looking for a public defender. You probably read that in the paper. And so we are looking at moving. We do have a company called Zell who does our onboarding and so forth. We're looking at hiring a personnel professional in that regard because we're not totally happy with Zell, and the city currently has 5 employees in the personnel department. So we think to be up to speed and current that we need to be looking in that direction. And I hope that answers the crux of the question.
Okay, candidate, Hubbard, you will be answering first. Each county commissioner must serve on committees or boards that use county funds. On which committees or boards would you like to serve?
I'm willing to serve on any of the boards, so I don't have a necessarily a preference on any. Obviously, the zoning and the planning boards, I'm very familiar with those issues. As a builder, I've been in the construction industry for 40 plus years. Currently an educator in the construction field. So anything to do with planning, building, construction, I would love to be involved with. But I'm willing to serve on any of the boards. I think the biggest thing is to look out for the budgets, look out for the citizens, and look out for what's in the best interest of the county overall. And that's the approach I would take to any committee or board I would be put on. Thank you.
What committee would I like to serve on? Whatever committee I'm put on. I think that is something that the senior board members will look at, talk with, and decide for us. I know the chairman of the board, he probably will put me on something very fun or hard. I don't know what he would do. He's smiling at me now, laughing. But whatever board I'm put on, I'll give it 100%, and I'll handle my duties best I can and as enthusiastic as I can.
Well, I serve on a number of the boards. I just mentioned personnel, and I'm also on the employee grievance board. And I think based on my experiences, Convention and Visitors Bureau representative would be good. And I did 40 years of budget, 20 of which I was city administrator. So I understand municipal budgets, I understand government budget works, and so, but we do have a budget committee. There's one member here that's on budget, and he may or may want to stay, I don't know. But again, I would do whatever the chairman wants me to do and represent the county in that regard.
Okay, candidate Huntley, you will be answering first. Oh, sorry about that.
I would serve on any committee that I was appointed to. Obviously, I'd have some more skill on some of them with experiences with budget or personnel, being part of my job, I'd have, again, more skill with some of them, but I would invest in learning any of them and applying the facts to it for the best outcome. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Now, Candidate Huntley, you will be answering first on this next one. How would you determine who would be representing in a matter that concerns both the county and your employer? Where would you draw the line of abstaining in a vote that could be a conflict of interest?
Well, being I'm my own employer and I'd be representing the county, I would have to talk with the chairman of the board and the county attorney to see if the issue was a complaint or a conflict. And if so, if you look on the agenda, there's a place where you announce them and then you have to abstain. So I take and look for legal representation from the county attorney's office and the board representatives.
Would you restate it?
Sure. How would you determine whom you would be representing in a matter that concerns both the county and your employer? Where would you draw the line of abstaining in a vote that could be a conflict of interest?
Well, I guess you would call Nebraska Softball my employer, even though it's a part-time job. And the only conflict I've ever run into since I've been on the county board was when a grant was submitted for some scoreboard improvements for lighting, and I always let the chairman know at the beginning of the meeting that I believe I have a conflict because those have to be approved by the board, and so I always abstained. That's the only time I've run into a conflict.
With my employment, I've been doing it for 30 years, 20 years as an administrator, and I've never been involved in an agreement or interlocal agreement with the county or ever had a conflict with my job. If one arose as a county commissioner, I would vet that thoroughly and not be part of the conversation and abstain from it.
Thank you. As a reminder, Candidate Story, hold the microphone just a little closer.
Well, I would say obviously as an elected position, if there is a definite conflict of interest between the county and my employer, that my responsibility would be to abstain and not vote, or not make a decision, or not participate in the decision-making process. Now, if it's an issue that might concern both the county and my employer, whether it be road development or the county development, whatever that could be, whatever the situation may be, then that might be a different situation where maybe you consult somebody and say, hey, what do you think I should do in this situation? But obviously, if there's a definite conflict of interest, then abstention would be the only answer.
Okay, Candidate Patterson, you are first for this next question. We talk about cutting costs, but at what point do you think about quality? Yes, that's the whole question.
Well, I think a level of service and quality is paramount. I mean, it is why we serve. We want to do the very best we can for the people who live in Adams County. I think there can be some adjustments made to be more efficient, but I would not want to see the quality or the safety of anyone in Adams County put in peril by reducing expenditures or the budget.
Thank you. Within the county, there's a lot of things that are financial, that are state mandated, and you want to do your best to provide the correct budget for those state mandates. Also, looking at the county, you want to ensure that you don't take shortcuts on infrastructure. With good infrastructure and with a good county, it can bring in promising growth and development. So you have to look at efficiencies in any job and look at the amount of money that you're applying for it, and you apply the correct amount to provide quality services to the citizens. Thank you.
Adams County ranks 409 out of 1,335 counties in the United States for the highest property taxes within the nation. That's nothing that Adams County should be proud of. If you take Hastings and get rid of the rest of Adams County, it's even worse. The citizens in Hastings pay 2.25%. That's equivalent to what they pay in Rochester, New York. So quality is very important, especially quality of services. But when you start looking at budget items, I can buy a quality Chevrolet, or I can buy a quality Mercedes. So sometimes you're gonna have to measure what quality is compared to what you can afford. It's always wonderful to dream big, but sometimes it's just not affordable. And I think we're in a crisis right now where we really have got to start looking at affordability before we tax our citizens out of Adams County. It's getting to the point where, especially people on fixed income, are running into many struggles, and we have got to address it.
Candidates?
Would you repeat the question?
Yes. We talk about cutting costs. At what point do you think about quality?
Cost and quality sometimes go hand in hand, but yet on the other side, sometimes they don't. I think we have to take a look at the item we're buying, what it's going to be used for, how long before it becomes obsolete. I think we need to take and really focus on our bidding process to make sure the items we're bidding, especially the large ones, we're getting competitive bids and numerous competitive bids. And I think it just boils down to, you know, what the item is, what it's going to be used for, and how long before it becomes functionally obsolete. And we look at the price tag based on all those factors.
Okay, candidate Story, you'll be first. Do you favor or oppose the Adams County Board allocating tax dollars to nonprofits?
Well, not knowing what nonprofits, there are times that I believe that it's acceptable. There are also different funding sources that can come through government entities to pass through money. Some of those are through settlements, opioid settlements, ARPA funds. There's a lot of funding mechanisms that are given to the sole government entity that they can use or pass through to nonprofits. And I think it's important to support the nonprofits in our community that are necessary for the service of our citizens. And so there are times that I believe it is extremely important to pass those funds through. Thank you.
Pass it on now.
You'll get the pattern down eventually.
I hope I remember the question.
I can always repeat it.
Thank you.
I think there's a lot of nonprofits in our community that do great things, not just for, obviously, the community of Hastings, but the other communities within Adams County. Do I have a problem with the county commissioners giving tax dollars to nonprofits? Of course not, if the money's there. And if the nonprofit is doing great things for the community, obviously you got to look at what the nonprofit does. However, when you have a budget cycle and you start looking at issues and affordability is at the top of your mind, some of those nonprofits might have to be some of the first things to go. I mean, that's a hard decision that, you know, as a county commissioner, you may be forced to make. And somebody has to be willing to make those tough decisions when it comes time to balance a budget or make decisions that affect the rest of the public. So obviously nonprofits, and there's a lot of nonprofits that do great things in Adams County. And if we can support them in any way, shape, or form, that is great. But also, you've got to sometimes make decisions that not everybody will like.
Are you ready for me?
I'm so sorry. Just wait. Okay.
We're having technology problems all across the board out here today, so if you're making me feel better, you are. So.
That's my second one. It's coming right.
Are you ready? Okay, sometimes in government, nonprofits complement the work the government's doing. And sometimes they can do it better at a cheaper rate than the governing body, whether it be city, state, or federal. So yes, sometimes nonprofits, and like Greg said, there are a lot of great ones out there, should receive tax monies, but we have to be careful what they're using it for, what it's going for, which ones we're giving to, and how it's benefiting the citizens of the county.
Well, the county does fund quite a few, in part, not-for-profits that provide a service to the citizens of Adams County that if RIDE is an example, Heartland Pet Connection is an example, there are tons of them that we look at and evaluate and decide. And I think, and Chuck is chairman of the budget committee, but I think we held the line on all those last year. I don't think we gave anyone an increase despite the fact we had them at the podium asking for more money. Is that not true, Chuck?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was. And so I think your tax dollars that go to fund services are important for the quality of life of the community, and I agree with Craig, they need to be evaluated and determine if the funding is appropriate and are they serving the people that they're designated to serve.
Okay, candidate Hubbard, you will be first.
Oh, great.
Okay. It is very hard for Adams County to hire and retain county attorneys and public defenders. What ideas do you have to fill these county employee positions?
Well, I'm not even going to attempt to try to give you a formal answer on that. What I would say is once, if I would be elected as county commissioner, the first step would be is to look into some of the issues that may lie in why we can't retain or hire those positions. Obviously, I've heard rumors and I know certain things, but I would not want to try to address any of that without having, a look at the information that's available. I don't believe it could be a wage issue because comparability studies are done on everything, so I would guess our wages are very comparable to what they're getting paid in other counties. So is it a personnel issue? Is it an HR issue? Those are things that you would have to look into once elected.
That's a tough question because in those positions, I'm sure the attorneys are looking at it. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. So they're looking at, I'm coming out of law school, I'm getting some experience, and I'm planning on going into private practice. So we're always going to be fighting that. I'm sure other counties are fighting it. I think we need to take a look at maybe merging some of the services. Public defender has been mentioned earlier, with other counties to see if we can work together. I think we also need to look at the caseload. If they're being burnt out with the number of cases they're being required to handle. So I think to retain these people, I think we need to do a in-depth look and see what the problem is and see if we can get an answer to it.
I can't really elaborate a lot on the recently dismissed or left public defender. She did leave to go to Lancaster County for a higher paying job. But we had addressed the pay when we looked at moving that from an elected, because we couldn't get anyone to run, to appointed. And we currently have that position open, and if you read the paper, we have a recruiter that we just hired to go out and seek one, because we've only had one applicant, and it takes a special person to be a public defender. They can make a lot more money in the private sector if they're a good attorney. We do have 2 attorneys in that office, but they're both pretty inexperienced. So I don't think pay is the issue. The person we had never signed a contract that's required by statute for her to work. And so there are a number of issues that are still pending that I really can't talk about, but a personnel committee obviously meets on these issues and makes recommendations to the entire board.
We'll get you figured out, Joe.
Thank you. Both offices are different. The county attorney is actually elected by the public, and the deputies that serve under that county attorney are the ones that she hires. So that's an important part to know, that the county attorney's office is an elected position. It is not appointed like the public defender. They both serve roles, and they're different kind of roles. County attorneys are on call. They act as coroners, and they have to prosecute every case in our county. Whereas in the public defender's office, they prosecute the cases where a person doesn't hire a private attorney. I think there are voids right now with just enough people entering the field, and also some of it does come down to the benefits and wages that are offered to them. Thank you.
Okay, we have about we have about 4 minutes left. So we are going to conclude with a 1-minute closing statement from each candidate. And if you'll bring the microphone all the way down this way, please. And so you will have...
start again, huh?
Well, yes, and yet to start again. 1-minute closing statement.
Thanks again to everybody that came out today. Thanks to the League of Women Voters, the YWCA for hosting. I'm not a career politician, I'm a builder. And before I speak on an issue, I do the work. I read the reports, I dig into the numbers, I ask the hard questions, because the people of Adams County would deserve decisions based on the facts. Not assumptions, not pressure, and not politics. The facts right now are pretty clear. As I stated earlier, I believe that Adams County is in the beginning of an affordability crisis like we've never seen before. And all you have to do is talk to people within the community. Right now, Adams County, like I said, has some of the highest property taxes nationwide, especially within the city of Hastings. Coupled with that, our median income is 15% less than the rest of the state of Nebraska, 15 to 25% less than the greater United States area. When you combine those two things, that's detrimental to affordability.
Thank you for having us all today. Thanks to the League of Women Voters, Will from the media, HVAC for coming out. Especially today, we look outside and see how great it is, and we're in here. But I want to encourage everyone, no matter who you are thinking of or wanting to, but just get out and vote. Encourage everyone to go and vote. And I think that's the mission of the League of Women Voters for having this. I have been endorsed by both Senator Lanowski and former Senator Halloran. I will also bring my other contacts from the state to the county so we can take and all work together. And that's a big goal. And I encourage everyone this afternoon, go out and enjoy the nice weather. It looks like this weekend we're going to get some rain, finally.
I officiated high school and college sports for 20 years. My line judge is standing at the podium, or one of them. And I learned a lot about human behavior when you're refereeing or umpiring the ball game. And I want to I have a diverse experience in government. Somebody called me on the internet a career politician, and I thought, well, I've only served 3.5 years on the county board. That's the only elected position I've held. So I believe in rules. I believe in enforcing those rules fairly for all parties involved. And I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this forum. I think it's the last one before the election. And I hope you all go out and vote. And I hope if you vote, you're in my district, you vote for me. Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for being here today and for hosting this important event. For me, it's just supporting people. I also have had a diverse career in dealing with all kinds of people, all kinds of diversity in walks of life, listening to people and applying things to make sound decisions. For me, I want to support the county with all the employees, the departments, infrastructure, and I just appreciate everybody being here today and listening. Thank you.
Before my closing remarks, let's thank the candidates. On behalf of the League of Women Voters from Hastings, we'd like to thank the candidates the media, the sponsors, and you, the audience. Please take a brochure explaining the voter ID requirement that started with the 2024 election cycle. The next League of Women Voter Hastings Candidate Forum will be on Friday, May 8th at noon here at the YWCA. Noel Nienheiser, the Director of Electrical Operations at Hastings Utilities, will be speaking on the solar farm. There will be a time for questions. The Hastings Education Association will be hosting a candidate forum for the Hastings Public Schools board candidates. That forum will be at Lincoln School on Tuesday. That's this coming Tuesday, April 28th at 7 p.m. And please remember that the 2026 primary election will be Tuesday, May 12th. Take your government issue ID and please vote. Thank you for coming.
You probably did.